welcome to a brand new Nerds United on YouTube. My name is Greg Mahochko, joined as always by my co-host of the year, Mike Luther. Take it away, Mike.
All right. That was really good, Greg. So, okay, I'm going to tell a story real quick. If you don't want to hear this story, remember that we always have time codes in the description. So skip ahead. So, this happened, I want to say less than a week ago. I can't exactly remember when it was. Greg knows part of the story except put it on Facebook, and we're friends on Facebook like that. So about 3 o'clock in the morning one night, I'm getting ready to go to the gym because that's the perfect time to go to the gym. We all know this already. All right. So I have my gym bag packed, right? I go out, I start my car, right? By the way, I know you're not supposed to. Oh, wow. Go out and start my car. I'm watching and stuff like that. 5 minutes later, less than that, I get ready to leave, right? I open up my car door, and all of a sudden, I see lights, and I hear, meh, 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 meh. Like, fuck, alarm's going off. So I get the keys out of the ignition. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it was started already. All right, so I try locking. I try unlocking. Nothing. I try starting the car up again. Like, I turn it off, turn it back on, nothing. Alarm's still going off. Like I said, this is 3 o'clock in the morning, okay? I'm starting to panic a little bit because I try the panic button, right? Panic button's not doing it. The panic button actually makes it worse, And I hit the panic button again. It's not as bad. And then I'm like, maybe I have to drive my car a little. Maybe just a little bit of movement. I don't know how alarms work, by the way. A little bit of movement maybe will turn it off. I don't know. Like we're going to be like, whoever installed it is like, look, if you start moving it, okay, the car's yours. We got it. All right. So that's how you disable alarms. I don't know. So I back up on my driveway a little bit, or whatever you call it, the parking area, and it's still going off. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, I know I can't drive around town with the alarm going on, but I'm like, I'm going to go a couple feet. I literally go 6 feet. Like, what is the next block over? But I'm very close to the end of the block. So I just basically have to go across the road. It's still going off. However, I'm sitting there and I'm like, wait a minute, that sounds further away than my car. So I look back, and it wasn't my car that was going off. It was the car next to mine that was going off. Now, if this had been my neighbor's car, no offense, neighbor on both sides of me, I wouldn't have cared. I would have been like, all right, I'm just going to the gym, whatever. It was my son's car, however, the alarm was going off. So instead of driving, and by the way, I'm out of it at this time. I'm just kind of panicking. And I park my car, I run back to the house, get Nolan's keys, and I think I tried. I couldn't remember exactly what I did, but I ended up turning the car on. The alarm stops. Right? I'm like, okay, good. Alarm stop. Perfect. So take the keys out of the car. I'm inside. Once again, 5 minutes later, I'm getting ready to leave again, and I'm like, man, I thought to myself, this is gonna be a good story for the YouTube channel. It goes longer because once again, I freeze. You freeze. Hey, are you not saying anything? Oh, there you are. Hey, was I frozen there?
Yeah, it's fine.
Good. I think I was. That's right. So anyway, once again, I'm getting ready to leave. Once again, the alarm goes off. Right now, this time, I know it's not my car. So I decide to grab the keys again, turn it on again. Every time I turn it on, of course, it goes off. But every time I take the keys out, you get about 5 seconds and it starts going off again. So, of course, being the I won't even say mechanic I Google it, and it's giving me a couple options. One, it says the battery could be low. Another one was the key fob battery could be bad. Or Google is just like, we don't know. We have no clue. So I'm like, I need to get to the gym because obviously it's gotta go to the gym. So I ended up disconnecting the battery. And I even Googled, like, the alarm still go off if you disconnect the battery because I wasn't sure. And I didn't want to be at the gym. And then all of a sudden I get a call from somebody being like, hey, your car alarm's been going off for the last half hour now. But fast forward, good part of the story. it is fixed now, and it was, and I knock on wood, there's wood right here, the least expensive option, which was simply changing the key fob battery, which I don't know why I decided to off at 3 o'clock in the morning when I was leaving for the gym, but it did. So everything's good now.
Where was Nolan in all this? It was his vehicle after all.
Sleeping. It's 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, but I imagine that going off as numerously as it was for the extended periods of time, that it had to wake somebody up in the complex or.
Oh, Greg, you would think, wouldn't you? You would think that it went off at least 5 times. You know, 4 of those times were probably very short because I was in the car and I was able to turn it back on. But there was not one neighbor that came out, not even like a light flick switch come on. And so the neighbor side, that doesn't matter. They have a little chihuahua that every once in a while, and a dog, but every once in a while, like if the door closes too hard, I'll hear the dog, because it's a little dog, nothing. It was nothing. It was not, if anybody wanted to steal that car, they could just do it.
Are you sure that the alarm was actually going off and you weren't just having a nervous breakdown?
You know what? Never say never. I mean, who knows? Honestly, there's been crazy times. Who knows? Yeah. So I just wanted to tell that story. So hopefully, if you like that story, cool. If not, you skipped ahead. I don't know. I still got books to talk about.
So do I, Mike. So do I.
Dude, you didn't tell me that.
Huh? No, it's nothing that I read. Or
Okay.
it's nothing that I've read recently. But I know you mentioned, I think it was last week on the video, how you're like, for a big Green Lantern fan, you sure don't have many Green Lantern books.
And that's exactly how I said it. That's exactly how I sound. Everybody knows that.
This is not everything, but it is one.
Emerald Dawn, okay.
So this is from the collecting of stories that began in 1989. So it's actual like paper, not the fancy glossy stuff.
Okay.
And you'll be happy to know because this has been a topic of much debate. But what is there but a big yellow guy? So obviously the parallax impurity remains in the main battery on OA. But anyway, this will be heading your direction eventually.
Okay.
Now, the good news is that story eventually leads us. That's Emerald Dawn. There's also an Emerald Dawn 2, Emerald, can't remember the order. Green Lantern, the Road Back, and then New Dawn. At one point in this, and I believe it's Emerald Twilight. That sparkly vampire movie stole everything, name-wise from Green Lantern, really. But I believe this is where, in at some point, New Dawn possibly is when Hal Jordan starts to go crazy and killing the spoiler alert, killing the Green Lanterns and stealing the power rings and going.
I'm just now getting through some. I honestly, I think I probably have like a year's worth of comic books here that I could read.
Things happen.
Yeah. Speaking of comic books, in interest of time, I have 2 of them, Greg, I can talk about. But I know we want to keep the YouTube 10, 15 minutes, I'd say about 15 minutes long. And I don't know how long we've been going for. So I can talk about one of them on here, and then we can talk about the other one on podcast, which is called Nerds United, in case you didn't know that.
Hopefully they did. Let's do this. Let's talk about one now, and we'll tease via the name the other one that you read, and we'll talk about that one on the podcast.
Okay. Which one should we talk about? The YouTube. Anyone I want?
Yeah, I mean, because I don't know what's
Okay.
in red, so yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Yes.
Which
By
is
the way, in
good.
case
That brings it full circle because you mentioned that one last week.
yes.
Good.
Uh,
There, Mikey.
Thank you. Good job. Let me borrow it. Batman White Knight, in case you didn't see that, or maybe you're, doing something else and not watching that, you're just listening. I don't know. Essentially, this is it's by Sean Murphy with Matt Hollingsworth. By the way, I'm reading that. And this apparently, from what I looked up a little bit more, this was part of Sean Murphy's Murphyverse, meaning this Batman story isn't canon, it's still a good story. Essentially what happens in this, and I'll try not to spoil it too much, but starts off very typical Batman chasing the Joker, capturing the Joker, beating the Joker up. Joker end up at a pharmacy, and Joker says something along the lines of, these pills would do more damage than you ever could, or something like that, right? I'm not exactly sure what. So Batman, being the person he is, basically takes the whole bottle and forces it down Joker's throat. Well, what happens is Joker becomes sane. In fact, that's what the back of the cover says. The Joker goes sane. So Joker becomes Jack Napier, or he starts going by Jack Napier, his real name. And essentially he starts showing Gotham how destructive Batman is, and says, look, I know I did a lot of bad, but it was only because of my insanity, and I'm here to do better. So part of it is bringing Batman, or Gotham, and all the corrupt Gotham police force trial. That's a small portion of it. There's a lot more. There's a lot, and like I said, I don't want to give anything away. Definitely recommend reading it though. There's parts with Mr. Freeze on there. There's little with him, or Freeze Tech, and when I was reading this, I was kind of thinking about what you said, Greg, as far as you don't want Joker to be sympathetic.
Yeah, I know. I talked about that during in the lead up. Gosh, was it just about a year ago, maybe, or when?
Yeah,
right before the movie The Joker was supposed to be coming out. I'm like, I don't want someone who commits murder, to be a sympathetic character, which, I know obviously in the 24-hour news cycle, everybody's looking for motivation, and, were they bullied or picked on or victimized in any way? And then, oh, well, I can see why, but still take it from somebody who is bullied, you can still be bullied and not go on a killing spree.
Yeah. And I bring that up because I totally understand what you're saying as far as, Joker's just a bad guy. This story, it makes him sympathetic a little bit. Not even sympathetic of when he's in trial and he's talking about all the stuff that Batman has done to him, because, slight spoiler alert, you'll learn that a lot of the stuff he does, even as Jack Napier, he still at least has bad intentions with it. The only part that you might sympathize a little bit with him is, once again, I don't know if this is spoiler or not. There's parts with Harley Quinn, which is another. So they do something in this comic book that I really like. Parts where if you don't want spoilers, fast forward to whatever we talk about next, if we talk about anything next, okay? There's a part where he's in, actually, I believe it's the Batmobile or something, some vehicle with Harley Quinn. And he's changing because the medicine's kind of wearing off. And he's changing from Jack Napier Joker. And he's desperately trying to tell Harley how he feels. And he's like, this is how I'm really being honest when I'm not the Joker right now. And then he kind of switches back and forth. I really like how they did it there. All right. So definitely recommend it. Next one that I'm going to talk about on the podcast, also good. What do you remember anything about the White Knight.
I remember that there's supposed to be a volume 2 coming.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
I like that kind of alternate reality type of take on their dichotomy. So, there are a lot of like the minutia of it. I've honestly forgotten. Like that scene in the vehicle with Jack and Harley.
Right.
But the overall story I remember, and it's one man's struggle to tell the world that he's the sane one, and everybody else is crazy. If you think about it. No, I'm not going to finish that thought. We keep this show politics free. So
yes, well, I was going to, and that's nothing to do with politics. There are parts on it where I'm reading it and I'm going, he's actually making a good point. Like, that man does destroy a lot of stuff, and his methods aren't necessarily the best. It's one of those like, do the ends justify the means type of thing. Because Batman will get results. He might destroy, 2 hospitals along the way to get those results. He'll get them, and it points out, that apparently Joker / Jack Napier is actually a genius, but when he's Joker, his imbalance, his insanity is what kind of lowers it down a little bit.
So what's the next one that you read that you're going to talk about on the podcast?
I don't know how to tease this one.
You don't have to tease it, just tell it, and then they can.
Okay, good. It's called Justice League of America, Tornado's Path.
There you go. Fantastic. All right, and that's the Brad Meltzer. Is that's not Rags Morales? I don't think doing the art on that one. I believe he did the art on Identity Crisis.
You might be right. Brad Meltzer, Ed Baines is the penciler, Sandra Hopke, or Hope, geez, I wasn't even close there. Hope was the inker, Rob Lay is the letterer, he puts letters on there, and Alex Sinclair is the colorist.
Well, there you go. All right. So we'll talk about that on the audio version of this show, which is the podcast in its full form, jitterymonkey.com and all of your favorite podcast platforms. So, signing off on YouTube, he is the co-host of the year, Mike Luther. I'm Greg Mahochko. We are Nerds United on YouTube, and we remind you to be kind.
And rewind.